Hello and welcome to Broome International Airport, and later today I'm flying back to Perth with QantasLink in an Airbus A320. Now I flew here yesterday with Virgin Australia in their A320, so I thought it might be interesting to directly compare the two products. So let's go and find my mask and then I'll head inside and show you what it's like. While Broome only has a population of around 14,000 people, it is the tourism centre for the region with thousands of people flocking there during the dry season. Pre-COVID, there were direct flights to the east coast and also seasonal flights to Singapore. That's dramatically reduced now with just QantasLink, Virgin and Air North flying to Perth and Kununurra. I arrived just before check-in was open and it appeared a lot of others were also avoiding the 41 degrees outside and came to the airport early just to enjoy the air conditioning. About 90 minutes before departure, the desks opened and I dropped off my bag. While there are no business class seats on the Qantas A320s, they still have the premium queue for passengers with Qantas Club and Airline status, which was handy. After dropping off my bags, it was off through security. Now the terminal itself has a very Southeast Asian feel to it, with a cafeteria, multiple gift shops, and there were these fans everywhere as the area was not air conditioned. At the actual departure gate, there's something that resembles more of an airport, and while there was some cooling in there, it was still fairly warm. After my short tour, I took off to the Qantas Lounge, which is back right after security. Eligible members have to show their boarding pass to security and then they open it up for them. It's open to the usual Qantas Club members and those holding Qantas Gold status and above. It's a bit of a trundle, including up some stairs, although there was a lift if you ask. It's a pretty standard regional lounge and the only lounge in the airport. There's a decent number of seats, which did fill up just before the two flights. There's a fridge with beer and wine, and they were all available from midday. Otherwise, it's just a few snacks and coffee pods, but for me, the best part was the view of the airport apron. I found this spot in the corner, had a bite, and enjoyed the view while waiting for my flight to be called. And here's our aircraft arriving: Victor Hotel, Juliet, Quebec, Golf, an Airbus A320-200. It first flew in 2004 for Jetstar before being repainted in QantasLink colours in 2020. It's now operated by Network Aviation in Belmont for Qantas, and rather embarrassingly, I did the whole recording trick of pressing recording when I want to stop and vice versa. So with some editing trickery, here's another A320 pulling up in front of me. Jokes aside, it was an awesome view of the aircraft pulling in right in front of us. For those living on the east coast of Australia, you won't have seen many of these QantasLink branded A320s, but rather just the Jetstar ones. But both Qantas and Virgin fly a lot of them out west. From what I understand, they're more powerful than the 737s and operate better in high levels of heat. Today was 41 degrees, and that's pretty normal for these regions. The luggage is also containerized, which means that it's packed into containers on the ground and then put into the aircraft's luggage hold. With the 737, by contrast, you just throw the luggage in individually, which exposes the ground staff to a lot of injuries from reaching and twisting, getting the luggage on and off. And just to the left was our aircraft, and shortly after, the boarding was called. Because most of the traffic will be FIFO workers and tourists, there won't be the high-profit corporate business market, so neither Qantas or Virgin A320s have business class. And let's be honest, the guys out there that actually own these mines tend to fly in Gulfstreams. While they're not much fun during the rain or during summer if you're a ginger, but I do love boarding via the airport apron and stairs. Seeing these aircraft from ground level really highlights how big they are and specifically with these aircraft, how good the silver livery looks on these Airbuses. Boarding was pretty slow and crowded, so it was difficult to capture much of the interior, although it comes in a 3-3 layout. As remember, this aircraft used to fly with Jetstar and it has the same interior. And here's my seat 5 Alpha, and I'll show you more around it. Up above, you've got these overhead air vents, which was particularly important when it's so hot outside. There's no TV screen in front and just a fold-out table. Now there's actually quite a lot of legroom on the left-hand side of the plane. Here's footage from the right side in seat 20 Foxtrot, which has considerably less room. The reason is that the right-hand seats had to be squeezed in a little to fit in between the toilets and the galley at both ends. Now the purpose of this was to show that there's no power plugs, so make sure that your device is fully charged before the flight. And then outside there's a great view of the wing and engines. The last remaining passenger boarded and the doors closed, and the seat next to me was still empty, so I knew that it was going to be a fairly comfortable flight with no fighting over armrests and legroom. Now just before takeoff, the wind changed direction, so we were going to be taking off towards the west, which I'm grateful for as the view was pretty amazing. Now you may be able to make out the city of Broome being on a bit of a peninsula stretching south, and to the southeast of that is Roebuck Bay, named after HMS Roebuck, which William Dampier used to explore the region in 1699. Since the 1800s, it was used as a base to search for pearls, and then in the 1900s, it was a stopping point for international and military flights, with flying boats especially. In fact, several flying boats, soldiers and civilians were killed here during World War II with a Japanese attack. But now it's known for its natural beauty, including mangroves, beaches and tidal creeks. Now I didn't get a chance to visit this trip, but there's also fossil footprints of dinosaurs. We eventually crossed the coastline at around 17,000 feet, and the rest of the journey was over land. There was a complimentary sandwich and drinks offered, including beer and wine. Here was an attempt at being artistic with the 100 years Qantas logo, and then trying to look profound, posing and looking out of the window. There was a secondary service offering just water around 60 minutes later. While they've just announced that they'll be introducing streaming entertainment into the A320s and Fokker 100s, that system wasn't operational yet, so I watched several saved YouTube videos. And with that smooth segue, if you enjoy these types of videos, please check out my channel for many more aviation videos and subscribe for the latest uploads. The view outside really shows how rugged yet diverse and interesting the Aussie outback is. These dry riverbeds, or whatever they are, look like those veins that you see on dried leaves. And this big lighter coloured thing is apparently a massive dry lake, which when zoomed into looks like bacteria on an agar plate or modern art. But even with the incredible inhospitality of the climate here, there's still some industry with these actual crop circles. Now I have no idea what they're doing out here or where they get the water from. Aliens presumably, and that was a joke before you Karens out there start quoting me on your Facebook pages. There's also mines littered along the route. Often they're just very big holes in the ground with little infrastructure and just a runway nearby. We cruised along at 35,000 feet and eventually crossed over from the national parkland into farming land just near Lake Moore. As we approached Perth, the land became increasingly green, with the odd river actually having water in it. So how was the flight? Given what's happened in the world at the moment, it's always just great getting up in the air. The A320 is a perfectly safe and comfortable aircraft, although just make sure that you book a seat on the left hand side and ideally towards the front as they have more legroom. They're not officially extra legroom seats or cost anything extra, so just keep an eye out when booking. Otherwise, they're reasonably standard economy class seats. The in-flight catering was fine, and this is probably the major difference between Qantas and Virgin, the latter of whom have more variety, but it costs extra other than just complimentary water, juice or tea or coffee. Check out my Virgin video to see what their catering looks like. Having the Qantas Lounge is also a big perk, especially when the main terminal isn't air conditioned, and the view was quite exciting for this 30-ish-year-old going on 8 of geek with the aircraft pulling in right in front of you. The crew on board were friendly in my interactions and happy to help. I mentioned at the start that I was going to compare this to Virgin's A320 on the same route, so here goes. The seat and the planes are essentially the same, assuming you're not stuck in one of the QantasLink seats on the right hand side with very little room, but admittedly that would be a big potential problem if at all. Qantas offer more catering for free, whilst Virgin offer more variety that you can purchase. The service was fine with both, and Qantas had the advantages of the lounges. So with those points under consideration, the Qantas product is probably better, although it is more costly. My ticket was purchased with points, so I can't directly compare them, but from memory Qantas were around 100-ish more when I looked at the cash prices, which is a lot for lounge access and free food. So it's really much of a muchness. I'd still encourage you to check out my Virgin video, and that'll help you come to your own conclusion. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and check out my channel for many more similar videos. And make sure you're subscribed so that YouTube lets you know when I've uploaded a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you another time.
Welcome to Perth. Qantas Airbus A320 of the plane.